Today's video is sponsored by Instant Gaming. More on how you could save money on video games later in the video. So on my channel, I usually explore the viability of cursed, low tier, and just downright bad gear in endgame Borderlands. But today, we're going to explore the viability of one of my favorite skills of all time. Today we ask, can you beat Borderlands 2 with only Light the Fuse? I'll go over the rules real quick. First off, we will be playing on Ultimate Vault Hunter mode and starting out on OP 10, and then lowering the OP level as we go if necessary. The goal is to beat the game at the highest OP level possible. Bar will not be allowed for this run, and last but not least, all damage dealt to enemies must be a result of Light the Fuse. So damage from things like Bloodsplosion or barrels is allowed as long as it's initiated by Light the Fuse and not some other source like melee damage. And before the run and validate year-olds get to the comment section, jump damage will be allowed because it's so insignificant in UVHM that it wouldn't kill anything anyway. We are also allowing the use of pull a pin to drop a stock grenade when we end up dying. These also deal barely any damage, but I decided to allow it because it's kind of on theme with the run and the funny knockback property is just too hard to pass up. Damage done to myself can come from any source. So things like hitting myself, throwing Buzz-X bombs, throwing stock grenades, and punching barrels are all fine as long as I don't hurt the enemy in the process. As for the gear, we're only going to be using an explosive relic and a flesh crunch class mod. Both these things together gives me an extra 166% explosive damage. I should mention that if I do end up dropping my OP level, I will also drop my gears level accordingly, which doesn't matter much. The difference in damage boost is like 8% from OP 0 to OP 10, but I decided to keep the playing field level anyway. Here's a quick peek at the build. If you're wondering why I picked some of these skills, it's probably because I ran out of useful skill points, so I threw them in random spots so I didn't have to see the blinking in the corner of my screen. Alright, with that out of the way, let's hop into the run. Right off the bat, we get a nice taste of gas mask luck. We got good starter spawns. Okay. Yeah, so surprising nobody, Light the Fuse was not working in OP levels. The first set of Bullymongs already had us drop down to OP 7 before we could chain together a kill. Using this knowledge, we could play a fun game. You should comment down below what OP level you'll think we'll be at by the end of the run, and see if you're right. Anyway, the bandits in Tutorial Town are usually the really squishy kind, but even so, we still needed to drop down to OP 6 to get through this part. So yeah, OP 6 is possible, but I definitely couldn't have done it without. So if you're using Light the Fuse and you want to make sure you throw as many dynamite sticks as you can before you inevitably blow your arm off, make sure you're not spamming the click button. Instead, time your clicks for right when Krieg is touching the bundle of dynamite, and you will throw them a lot faster. This allows you to throw 22 sticks of dynamite instead of the usual 14 per Light the Fuse duration. After repairing Claptrap, we started fighting our way to Boom Boom. After ignoring some major wannabes, we hop in and start our first boss fight.
Light the fuses, bitches!
He said the thing!
I'm ready to blow!
Our first attempt ended near instantly since my bleed out timer was still scuffed from the last fight. Our first real attempt made it painfully obvious that OP 6 wasn't gonna happen. OP 5 was better, OP 4 was close, and OP 3 was just barely doable. We were able to kill Boom, which triggered Psychos to start spawning, and these guys were vital to our victory. The plan was to stay close to the Psychos as I was chucking my evil candy canes at Boom's turret. This way, when my timer ran out, I would get a revive off of them and potentially deal some extra damage via Bloodsplosion. This strat worked well for knocking him out of his turret, but not as well when it came to actually killing Boom. Boom's AI makes him run pretty far away from you when you go down, and it's kinda hard to hit him when he just jumps out of range. But lucky for us, we know about. If you're sick of the bad guys running away as you're trying to feed them the scary looking candles, totem trolling is just what you're looking for. When in Light the Fuse, you won't bounce off enemy heads. This allows you to effortlessly keep close to them and deal your damage. The bad guys are also so dumb that they literally don't even know you're up there. Anyway, after we killed Boom and Boom, we blasted Claptrap and made our way towards Flint. Along the way, we saw some bad guys bullying Claptrap, so I decided to join in. And then we made it to Flint. And yeah, this didn't go good. I spent 2 hours trying to set up a Bloodsplosion chain using all the mops provided, but it just wasn't happening. It also didn't help that he would just light himself on fire and get some goofy damage reduction. Oh, not to mention that every time I failed an attempt, I had to save quit to get all the bandits to respawn, which meant running all the way back over to Flint. Well, since we still have a minute before we get back up there, I guess now is a good time to talk about our partner, Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is my go-to place for getting deals on games I want to play. Just recently, I decided to try to get Fallout 4 and replay it because it's been a while, and I managed to snag the Game of the Year edition with all the DLC for under $9. The best thing about it is there's no waiting for deals here. Sure, you could just wait for Steam to have a sale, but who wants to wait? And even if you did wait, the odds of their deal beating Instant Gaming's deal is pretty slim. I just checked the price on Steam, and even with it being 75% off, it's still cheaper on Instant Gaming. And now I may be on PC, but Instant Gaming also covers all of our console homies. So do us both a favor and think of a game you've been wanting to play, and use my link in the description to see if you like the deals they've got. And if you end up making a purchase, just know on top of saving yourself money, you're also supporting the channel. Anyway, let's see how far we made it. Oh, we are resetting again already. I guess I should have expected that. Anyway, blood explosion chains are really hard to get without slag tripling your damage on every explosion, so I decided that OP2 was going to be necessary. This was still hard even on OP2, but after a while, we got a god chain. Let's go, dude! After that, we made it to Three Horns and stole ourselves a car, visited Door Guy, hit a sick quad feed, stole some guy's batteries, and let the blood explosion chain handle killing the 20 bandits for Reese, before finally making it to Sanctuary. Ah yes, home sweet home. We can kick back and relax.
Come to Frostburn Canyon or people will die.
Okay, we're off to Frostburn Canyon then. You know the drill. We usually speedrun through this map because all the mandatory fighting is at the end. Running through this time was especially fast because of a largely forgotten part of Light the Fuse is the speed boost awarded to the player after detonating the bundle early. If you get a kill like this, you get a speed boost for the remainder of time that you had left in Light the Fuse. And the best part about it is that speed boost can stack. That's what we call some high risk, high reward gameplay. Anyway, after making it through the bandits and spike pits, we found Lilith and happily revived her. Psych! Real talk though, it didn't take Lilith long to utter her cringe one-liner. It was literally her second phase blast, and I just wasn't having it. At this point, some of you guys might be thinking, I thought Light the Fuse was bad. How the heck is this man AFK eating chips and French onion dip and still winning? And yeah, fair enough. I've heard a lot of people say that this skill is terrible, and while I could agree that this skill is definitely not optimal, terrible is kind of a harsh take. Ironically enough, I think that Light the Fuse excels in the third playthrough. Did you know that this skill receives a 600% damage boost in UVHM? Because it does. If we take the health multipliers from each playthrough, we can see that Light the Fuse has the best potential in UVHM. I also find it kind of funny that TVHM is the worst time to use this skill. Anyway, yeah, Light the Fuse isn't bad. It's just not as strong as swapping to a Norfleet.
What the f, amigo? Vos estás re loco.
For example, I still can't kill these big psychos, so that sucks. I had two options for these guys. I could wait for Lilith to take care of them since they don't have health regen, but relying on Lilith plus waiting on Lilith isn't something I want to do. So I just lured them over here and let Pull the Pin handle it. You can't see it in the clip, but they definitely got launched off the cliff here. After all that noise, we set off to Ellie's to get a car upgrade. I couldn't afford a new car, so I got a local job working on a food truck. They put me on hot dog duty, we destroyed the competition, and I managed to make enough money for a new car, and then we set off to the Bloodshot Stronghold. Bad Ma was waiting for us, and I had a plan for this fight. Come closer. Come closer, big man.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
There we go. Easy. It was now time to fight our way through the ramparts. They thought they were going to be able to stop me with their numbers and manpower, but they didn't know about my main goal.
My main goal is to blow up.
The close quarters combat here made it easy to set up blood explosion chains and corner enemies. After we made it to the toilet room, I managed to survive 7 back-to-back instant bleedouts. We even ended it on this cool, stylish one. Hold that, wait. Hold on. Come down here. Truck it. Oh my god. Angry Michael showed up and he made the mistake of standing too close to the edge. And then we had a little family gathering. Oh, he's got a, that's a suit. That's one of me behind me. It's my own brethren behind me. We caught up to Roland and watched him get kidnapped by our next big problem, the Warden. Fun fact, constructors have a 90% damage reduction to grenade splash. Also fun fact, Light the Fuse and Blood Splosion are both considered grenade splash. Another fun fact, the Warden can take Roland to the Hyperion Friendship Gulag if you don't kill it fast enough. Fun fact, we're going to the Gulag. Yeah, I tried my best here, but we just did not have enough damage to take him out. Especially because our potential revives were all super loaders or angelic guards, so bye Roland. Anyway, usually the Gulag version of this fight can be harder because the Warden also has the ability to moonshot loaders in over there. But like, what's the worst that can happen? They down me? Yeah, the extra bad guys actually came in handy to set up for bigger blood explosion chains here. Only thing we had to be careful of is our bleed out timer not getting too low. So how bleed out timers work in this game is that every time you go down, your bleed out timer will be reduced if you went down within 26 seconds of your last second wind. In order to reset this, you would not only need to wait longer than 26 seconds before your next down, you would also need to get a second wind with that already bad bleed out timer. If your next down is going to make you instantly bleed out, no amount of waiting alone can reset your timer. So you need to really set up for your next second wind to reset it back to normal. So after a few kills, I started counting out loud, making sure I hit that 26-second mark, and we patiently waited for Warden to keep spawning our revives. On the 14th activation of Light the Fuse, we finally managed to take this toaster down. After Roland and I finished off the rest of the loaders, we made it back to Sanctuary. Our next mission was to go steal the vault key, train robbery style. Right as we got to Tundra Express, we lost a fight with a snowman and took a shameful shower with the VAR kids because of it. After that, Mordo and Tina helped us blow up a train, and it was now time for the Wilhelm fight. This fight was honestly kind of a joke. Homie straight up just spawns 2 surveyors every 20 seconds, and that makes it way too easy to just
Blow up.
Altogether, it took 7 full detonations and 1 beef stick to take Wilhelm down. After that, we got back to Sanctuary. Lieutenant Davis wanted to try our build out, so I tried to show him the ropes, but I don't think he understood that well. Oh no, I got all of Sanctuary doing it now. What have I done? What the f***, Lilith? On the way to the fridge, we found a tubby skag and blew his cute little head right off of his body. He dropped an Unforgiven, so that's pretty cool. Which reminds me, I've got all these save files on my Discord channel. If you want to try any of the runs you've seen me do on YouTube, there's a link in the description. Anyway, after almost surviving the fridge, we fumbled again and forgot to hit the fast travel objective. After we got that fixed, we started our fight with the Hungry Moon Squid. Yeah, this one didn't go good at all. I had no hope of killing this thing, especially since it can just hide underground as I try to detonate, or just say, I have a shield now, and ruin everything. So I decided to hire some friends to help me out. Except, they weren't my friends at all, actually. It was really hard to get them to stay mad at the Thresher because as soon as it went underground, their lack of object permanence kicked in and they just started blasting me. After like an hour of trying to figure it out, I got to a spot where they would just leave me alone and fight it out themselves, and I just took my hands off the keyboard. About 2 minutes later, the Thresher kicked the bucket and I made off with the contents of its stomach. Overlook was up next, and with the hordes of loaders, you would think this wouldn't be too bad. Only problem is, they really just didn't want to target me. Shoot me! Shoot me! Shoot me!
like littering or profanity.
What the fuck? Yeah, they were just dead set on destroying that beacon, so it eventually became invincible and these guys were still shooting at it. I had to adapt, and this is probably the first time in human history that adapting was running up and trying to eat the bad guys' guns. But we gotta do what we gotta do. After what felt like the longest Overlook fight of my life, the fast travel landed and we made our shameful escape. We weren't at Sanctuary long before we were given another job to do while everybody else sat around. What is our job anyway? Oh, come on! Anyway, after wounding all the loaders by simply not getting a second wind, we ran through the preserve and started taking out all the required bad guys. I had to be a bit careful here because I knew an Uba was coming up. That's an acronym for this, by the way. And in order to take this thing out, I was going to need to really utilize the 2 loaders it spawns with. I was really scared that I was going to have to farm map RNG for this barrel to be slag for the kill, but I was lucky enough to kill him without needing to do that. And I was even lucky enough to do it a second time because I forgot to grab doctor's orders. We started fighting the loot dudes, and this time around I figured bunching them all up would increase my odds of surviving. I died anyway, but on the bright side, the corrosive skag killed all the jet loaders for us, so that was cool. We ended up getting a legendary Psycho class mod and an Infinity, so that's pretty neat. And after playing fetch with the local puppies, we made it to the Bloodwing fight. At face value, you might think this fight is just not possible. She has 3 phases to fight and resets if I end up dying, and that math just doesn't add up to me winning. But lucky for us, right about the same time she lands and gets into our range, she also spawns a bunch of skags. Those skags are also getting slagged by Mordecai. I think you guys know where this is going.
There you go, guys. Good job. GG. Let's go. First try, baby.
The new rivalry score is now 7-4. I think we need to give Bloodwing a chance, so maybe comment the challenge that Bloodwing can score a point on. Anyway, we got the Claptrap upgrade and finally had a chance to high-five our homie. Our next goal was to recruit Brick and his buzzard support. He has a whole army of crazed bandits, so I thought I would fit in pretty well, but nope, I needed to do some dumb initiation. This guy is literally begging to get shot in the face, and he's still part of the gang. I'm running around with lit TNT and blowing my arm off every 4 seconds, and I can't join? What the heck is that logic? So I started the initiation and immediately went AFK to just go eat more snacks because I could. Anyway, after I killed all those guys, Brick agreed to help us out. We also got to tell Sarcastic Slab about our main goal.
Blow up.
After getting a loader to take out Face McShooty for us, we fought off all the loaders with Brick. I was having trouble doing our usual strats, but luckily Brick knows what he's doing. Brick! He did it! We seen it! The last thing we needed for the bunker raid was Jack's voice. We tried our totem trolling strat on the Jack double, but one light diffuse duration wasn't going to be enough. After that attempt, he started running away, as he does, but I bet he didn't know about. When you're in Fight for Your Life, enemies change up a little bit and try to move a bit further away from you than they usually would. Normally you can't use this to your advantage, but with Light Diffuse, we can run, jump, and herd all the bad guys right to where we want them. After using the fear of the engineers to our advantage, we were able to kill the Jack double and steal his voice, and now we were finally ready for the climb up to the bunker. Obstacle number 1 was another toaster. Believe it or not, this guy was way more of a hassle than Warden. You see, all the Warden does is just keep spawning bad guys. He can't shoot missiles or nukes or anything like that. On the other hand, these guys have a limit to how many loaders they can spawn. So if I didn't get enough damage done with the provided bad guys, I would have to reset the map. Which I did over, and over, and over, and over again. Yeah, some of the most random problems just decided to show up. To list a few, bad guys would die way earlier than I thought they would, and that would waste their blood explosion damage. A loot homie showed up and that ruined everything. Enemies wouldn't get close enough to the constructor. Surveyors would fly out of my range at the last moment. The toaster would nuke my revive last second. Random pieces of geometry would eat my detonation. What? Or, you know, I would just casually be held hostage by a jet loader. Yeah, just a bunch of generally annoying crap that you would totally expect when you're trying to kill a grenade splash resistant toaster with grenade splash. 1 hour, 6 resets, and 11 deaths later, we finally managed to take the thing down. Man, I sure hope the next fight isn't as bad as... Well, I guess this is the end of the run. Until next time, breathe easy, homies. Psych! Yeah, I'm not counting these guys, because what you're seeing here is 100% a glitch. These guys are super weird and just don't take a lot of splash damage for some reason, so since they're cheating, we're gonna do a little cheating too, while keeping to the runs theme. If we allow ourselves 2 very specific grenade mods, a long fuse sticky homing slag bouncing Betty, and a short fuse sticky homing corrosive transfusion grenade, good god that was hard to say and record, that took like 18 tries, we could kill these guys with pull to pin. First off, we die right about here with our slag grenade equipped. We want to die as far away as possible, but still have the grenade be close enough to home into the turret. The sticky property is important here because the grenades would just bounce off otherwise. The slag Betty will now get stuck in the turret and slag it with bullets while we respawn, After we come back, we need to quickly go equip the corrosive transfusion we dropped on the ground, take enough damage to get health gated, and then open and close our inventory to get rid of the invincibility window from health gate. And then we would instantly bleed out and hope that we were fast enough. And also hope the grenade went for the right turret. This was a pretty tight window. It probably took about 15 tries before we nailed this kill. For the further turret, we had to get a little creative. Instead of bleeding out normally, we would have to jump into the death barrier in a level spot where our grenade would drop, bounce directly upward, notice the turret, and start homing in before we equipped our corrosive transfusion and tried to bleed out with that one. Surprisingly enough, we somehow got this one first try. Well, glad that fight is out of the way. Can't possibly get any worse than... Yeah, I'm be honest guys, this was probably the worst Super Toaster fight I've ever had. I literally couldn't do anything to this thing, so I just had to wait for it to slowly nuke itself. This was unbearably slow, so I tried to manipulate it by baiting out slams every time it chose to shoot missiles instead of nukes. And honestly, I thought it was working, but I was actually just slowing him down. The optimal strat here was literally to wait pretty much AFK and just eat some hot fries. 2 fucking hours I waited there before I couldn't see his health bar anymore. He was practically dead, so I decided to finish him off the proper way. This is probably stupid, but oh well. Just do it.
Would like to remind you that there is only one thing worse than respawning, and that is not respawning.
After another hour and a half, we got it low again and actually took it out proper. Okay, now there really shouldn't be any other annoying thing we have to deal with on the way up to the... What the f*** even is this? All right, we're finally at the bunker now. Step 1, blow up some turrets. Step 2, blow up some more turrets. So in order to destroy the bunker, we were going to have to be patient and wait for him to stand still on the edge of the arena and blow up his turrets to get second wins. Now this is some tricky stuff to land consistently, but we had a trick up our sleeve. Alright guys, it's time to teach you about my favorite light the fuse tech, short fusing. How many of you guys have tried to jump last second in order to reach a surveyor or rack, but in the end just landing before the dynamite has a chance to blow up anyway? I'm willing to bet a good portion of you that have tried this skill. But with short fusing, this problem will be no more. As long as you're not throwing a stick of dynamite as this animation starts, you can click at any moment to detonate the bundle early. My mind was blown when I found this strat, and honestly, it was the tipping point to starting this run. Anyway, by short fusing, we can jump at the bunker and detonate early enough to destroy the turrets and deal a little bit of damage to the bunker in the process. We lost our first attempt while we were still warming up, but on our second try, we got the bunker all the way down to his deathbed spot. It got a little trickier here because he was way higher up than I felt safe going for, so after I got second wins from the turrets, I lured a backup plan closer and started chucking. 3 loader sacrifices in, we secured our win. Our next objective was to survive the Angel Core fight. I was so hyped to see all the dumb loaders run towards their silly little ion loader homies, not knowing they grouped themselves up and gave me a free way to down myself and blow them all up at once. But then like maybe 2 ion loaders showed up, so that was kind of lame. But honestly, that was fine compared to the rest of the stuff I had to deal with down here. 10, 11, 12, shut the f*** up, Lilith! 14, 15. Alright, I've been getting a lot of comments lately asking why I despise Lilith so much, and honestly, it's more than her just dropping that cringe one-liner. She just constantly blinds me and is of no use in combat. You would expect her to deal some type of fire or even slag damage in combat, but no, she just doesn't deal damage in Angel Core. All the other Vault Hunters are cool. Roland can actually kill stuff and his turret gives you health and ammo. Mordecai understands UVHM and slags everything for you. Brick puts the stinky on loaders? And, what does Lilith do again? Fuck you, Lilith. Get stepped on. No, Lilith, what the fuck are you doing? She takes me to the fucking back rooms? This game is cursed. Why does this always happen to me? I can't make this up. Anyway, so the last few loaders are all the super ones, and in order to kill those, we were going to need some fodder enemies. If we somehow messed this up and we're stuck in a 1v1 versus one of these things, we were going to have to restart Angel Core entirely. I was down to the loader and one turret, and needed that loader to be as close to the turret as possible. And of course, Lilith kept distracting it. Oh my god, bro. We eventually managed to take it out and did not need to redo the entirety of Angel Core, thank goodness. Anyway, Roland Gott died. That is literally what I wrote in the script, so I'm just going to go with it. And Jack kidnapped Lilith. Great, now I won't have to listen to her. She's in my brain now, come on! We made it to Sawtooth Cauldron and started taking out the ambush commanders. This place was pretty crowded with bandits, so herding them to the big guys was actually pretty simple. I may have had a few minor blunders, but they all died in the end, and that's what matters. After those guys, we bombed Boombringer and accidentally looked at the explosion, but it somehow still counted as me not seeing it, so I'm basically a cheater now. We found Mortar and decided to let him live. We totally didn't try to kill him and failed miserably. No, that would never happen. I needed him to damage me for this next fight. So, buzzards. Not exactly something I could just chase down, so for this fight, we're going to need to do some shenanigans. Man, do I just make the same funny edit as I did in the last video? Screw it, why not?
Explosions of life!
Anyway, yeah, we had to pretty much just get the buzzard as they spawned in order to get all these guys taken down. It took a while, but we got all 5 and stole a bunch of explosives. Wait, why are we even here? I've got tons of dynamite. Anyway, after the usual run through the boneyard, we made it to the Badlands and found Saturn. I humored the idea that killing Saturn was possible, so I made one attempt. Guess how much damage I did? Anyway, yeah, we got the data and it was time for the final stride towards the vault. The mobbing at the claptrap door? Easy. Skipping Heroes Pass? Even easier. Fighting Jack? Pretty much impossible. I could go on for hours describing how everything in this fight adds up to us losing, but instead, I'm going to try to cover all the basic stuff really fast. Here we go. At first, the Jack fight seems easy because he spawns all these clones that die to one dynamite stick, but after his shield breaks, those clones don't show up anymore and your options for revives are loaders or turrets. This wouldn't be an issue if it wasn't for Jack's crazy health regen, the fact he has grenade splash resistance just like constructors, and an invincibility drone. So in order to kill Jack, you just need to get his shield really low and then pray you get a good enough chain using all the clones. But most of the time, you get the god chain when his shield is still full and just ruin the attempt. This is also very hard because the clone AI is incredibly unpredictable. Sometimes they chase you down, sometimes they try and gun you down, sometimes they just don't move. Which isn't helpful considering that we have to lure them all over to the spot for the blood explosion chain because when Jack's shield breaks, he instantly teleports to the console, meaning the chain has to end here. But getting an actual chain is super hard because if you have too many runners, they clump up and it doesn't actually chain and it doesn't stack any damage. And if you have too many gunners, they're not close enough to get hit by the explosions. So you have to deal with their already buggy AI and spread them far enough to make the fight work. Also, apparently if multiple enemies die at the same time, only one of them will blood explode, and 99% of the time is the one that wasn't near any of the other bad guys. Yippee. I was honestly lucky to even enter Light the Fuse because these guys barely deal any damage. I could slag myself using Lilith's laser, but she can't slag Jack or any of the doubles because she's a She could slag the rack though, so maybe we can add those to the chain. Nope. You have to hit them with a stick of dynamite to get them mad, but that usually just kills them. And even if you do get them mad, they usually only do one swoop before forgetting about you again. We also need a bunch of bloodlust stacks for the chain to work, so we have to make sure to activate BuzzX Rampage after our initial detonation so that Taste of Blood gives us 45 stacks per kill instead of just 1. And then we have to try to keep these stacks by jumping on the bad guys' heads. That didn't go good. Jump on him, I swear to God, thank you. Jump, 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 you fuckers, I hate you. Just give me my 100 stacks, please. Oh my God, this is fucking Sisyphus! Sisyphus! Other than the actual fight, there were some other things that slowed me down. Like when the mailman sent me this picture saying my 24-pack of monsters was delivered, that's not my front door. So I ran around my apartment complex and discovered that's nobody's front door. This was actually just a picture of a package that wasn't even my monsters delivered to the back door of the main office. Why? Back to Borderlands, I also had Shift telling me I couldn't connect to my account even though I was in offline mode, which wouldn't be an issue, but they decided to tell me every time I paused to save quit and again in the home menu. It was messing up my fast save quits and I was getting really tilted. Insert dramatic sigh and pretend that I did all that in one take. Wait, hold on. Anyway, after 6 hours, I decided that OP2 Jack just straight up wasn't possible. So this fight is going to have two endings. The normal ending and the stinky ending. If we allow ourselves to use pull the pin with a singularity grenade, we can win the fight like this. Let's go. Let's go. That looked really easy, didn't it? Well, it actually took 3 hours to figure out. Stock grenades don't launch Jack, otherwise I would have just used one of those, so the singularity was needed here. On top of that, the singularity needed to be in a high place. This would give him more airtime and he would get pulled further. It was also super annoying to make sure he stayed aggroed to you and even harder to get him close enough to this corner to pull it off. I had to be at a specific distance where I'm out of his melee range but still close enough to where he would try to run up and melee me instead of disappearing. I would then have to kite him to this corner because just standing here wouldn't get him close enough. After that, I just needed to spam jump and have him down me. If I didn't spam jump here, he would just run away and this wouldn't work. Also, the actual walkable area of this rock I had to climb was super slim. Too far to the right and I would be the one getting stinkied. Usually I would just be kinda mad that this fight was so convoluted and obscure, but like, we fucking put the stinky on Jack. This is fucking awesome. Anyway, for the normal ending, we were going to have to drop the OP level all the way down to 0. Hey guys, Future Gas Mask here. So yeah, we managed to kill Jack at OP 0 after about 2 hours of attempts. But I was really mad that we had to drop out of OP levels after making it this far on OP 2. So we popped it back to OP 1 and did some testing. And within the first 10 minutes, we had some promising attempts. And I instantly knew that this was possible. So I put my nose to the grindstone, letting my stubbornness completely overtake any urge to settle for the win at OP 0. I knew it was only a matter of time. But what I didn't know was that matter of time was 10 hours. Anyway, I just wanted to explain everything that happened. I'm pretty sure 50% of this challenge was this fight alone, so that's something. Also, this bit is 100% an excuse to show off the new merch. Queen Knight designed all of it, and I think she did an awesome job. If you want to cop some of this for yourself, find the link in the description or just go straight to gasmaskgang.com. Anyway, here's me killing Jack after I fought him for almost 20 hours.
That it? Huh?
We're staying OP levels! We're gonna fucking do it! And that just leaves the warrior. The plan here was to lure the crystalisks over to where the warrior stands and use them for revives while damaging the warrior with our thrown sticks. This fight was honestly so much easier compared to the Jack fight, but we still ran into some issues. 19, 20, 21, 22. Mori! With all respect, shut the fuck up. You're gonna jinx it. I love you, but don't say that, okay? What's the rule? We know the rule. We don't celebrate till it's over. Okay? Okay?
2 seconds later.
Quicker than I'd hoped. What the fuck? Whoa. Hold on. Alright, I'm not gonna get mad. But Mori. This is a direct example. Anyway, our other issue was that the crystalisks just straight up disappear when he enters his deathbed spot, leaving our only options for revives being rack or blowing off his chest pieces. So after a few failed attempts, we devised a strategy. When the warrior was close to entering his deathbed, we would make sure not to put him under that health threshold while he was already sitting in that spot. That way, when his health did get low enough, instead of standing there with no chest pieces for revives, he would dive under the lava one last time and regain his chest armor so we could guarantee at least one revive in deathbed phase. Using those chest pieces and this rack that luckily glitched out, we were able to take down the warrior and finish this run. Which means, yeah, you can beat Borderlands 2 with only Light the Fuse, even at OP1. Bonus content time, woo! We faced many hardships in this run, and we prevailed over every fight we were faced with. All except for one, and I think revenge is a dish best served cold. So we started blowing up snowmen. All these bandits and frosty dudes were no match for me. I was in a constant state of instant bleedouts, but they just couldn't escape me. Oh, the delightful sounds they made when their existence came to an end. Those satisfying crunches drove me to keep going right up to the very end when we faced off against the abominable Mr. Tinder Snowflake. He threw every last one of his soldiers at me, but with my ballpark francs in hand, he suffered a cold, cold defeat. So in case anyone ever wondered this, you can beat how Marcus saved Mercenary Day with only Light the Fuse. Before you go, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for making it this far into the video. If you want to support the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Doing all that helps the channel a lot. I also read all my comments and love hearing your guys' ideas and kind words. If you want to support the channel more directly, consider becoming a channel member. 99 cents gets you emotes and videos a day early. You could also save yourself some money over at Instant Gaming using my link, or you could check out the new merch store. I will leave my Discord and Twitch channel where I stream these runs live in the description. And last but not least, shout out to MangoSoda who drew this video's thumbnail art. They do commissions and will also be linked down below. But until next time, breathe easy, homies.